Picture this. You open your phone one morning and see a notification. SpaceX is going public. The biggest IPO in human history, $1.75 trillion valuation. And everyone around you is asking the same question. Should I buy it? Your friends are excited. Reddit is going crazy. Financial influencers are calling it the investment opportunity of a lifetime. But here's what nobody is telling you. The S-1 filing, that's the official document SpaceX just handed to the government, has some numbers in it that should make you very, very uncomfortable. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's really going on. Because this isn't just a story about rockets and Mars, it's a story about how the biggest wealth transfer in modern history is about to happen, and most people won't even realize they were part of it. Let's start with the basics. SpaceX is actually three completely different businesses wearing the same jacket. Business number one, rockets, Falcon 9, Starship, launching satellites for the US government, cargo to the International Space Station. This is what everyone pictures. And in 2025, the rocket business made about $4 billion in revenue. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the thing. At a $1.75 trillion valuation, that $4 billion in rocket revenue is basically a rounding error. Think about that. They want you to pay 437 times the revenue just for the rocket side alone. Business number two, Starlink. This is the real moneymaker. Satellite internet beamed down from space to a little dish on your roof. Over 10 million subscribers across 150 countries. In 2025, Starlink alone made $11.4 billion in revenue. And here's the part that actually blows my mind. The profit margins are 63%. 2 years ago, they were 41%. So the margins aren't just good, they're accelerating. If SpaceX was just Starlink, this would be a very different conversation. But then there's business number three, and this is where it gets ugly. In early 2026, SpaceX merged with xAI. That's Elon's artificial intelligence company. And this merger changed everything. Here's what the S-1 filing actually says. In plain English. xAI lost $6.4 billion in 2025 alone. That's not a typo. $6.4 billion. Gone. In 1 year. Now, compare that to the companies xAI is supposedly competing with. OpenAI makes around $24 billion in revenue. Anthropic makes over $30 billion. xAI makes roughly $1 billion. But SpaceX bought xAI for $250 billion. Think about that math for a second. It's like paying Ferrari prices for a car that doesn't have an engine yet. So when you add it all up, Starlink making money, rockets making money, xAI burning everything, SpaceX as a combined company lost nearly $5 billion in 2025, and they want you to buy this company at $1.75 trillion. But here's the part of this story that actually matters for you. Personally, even if you never touched the SpaceX IPO, even if you've never heard of it, even if you have zero interest in buying this stock, you're probably already going to own it. Here's why. If you have a retirement account, a mutual fund, or any investment that tracks the Nasdaq, you're about to automatically become a SpaceX shareholder, because on May 1st, Nasdaq quietly changed its rules. 3 rules, and all 3 were designed to do one thing: get SpaceX inside the index as fast as possible. Rule change number 1. They cut the waiting period for new companies to join the Nasdaq 100 index from 3 months down to just 15 trading days. That waiting period existed for a reason. It gave the market time to find the actual price before passive funds were forced to buy in. Now that protection is gone. Rule change number 2, they removed the minimum requirement for how many shares have to be publicly available. SpaceX is only making 4 to 5% of its shares public. Under the old rules, automatic disqualification. Under the new rules, no problem. Rule change number 3, and this one is the craziest. They added something called a float multiplier. For companies with a small public float, Nasdaq now counts those shares as if they were 3 times bigger than they actually are. So a 4% float gets treated as 12%, a 5% float gets treated as 15%. They literally tripled the number on paper. In other words, the rules were quietly rewritten, specifically so that SpaceX could get inside the index as fast as possible. And the moment SpaceX enters the Nasdaq 100, every index fund that tracks it is legally required to buy SpaceX stock automatically. There's more than $600 billion in assets that track this index. No vote, no choice. Just your retirement money, buying SpaceX at $1.75 trillion. And there's one more thing. Normal IPOs give retail investors 5 to 10% of the shares. SpaceX is targeting 30%. And the CFO of SpaceX told a room full of bankers on the record that retail is going to be a critical part of this IPO. Why? In his words, retail buyers have been incredibly supportive of us and of Elon, and we want to recognize that. Translated out of corporate speak, we're going to dump 30% of our supply on retail buyers. Not because retail buyers help with price stability, because they're loyal to Elon. And that's how this story unfolds. The buyers are forced in early, the sellers are unlocked later. Shares move from insiders sitting on a low-cost basis to passive funds and retail whose retirement accounts absorb them at peak valuation. Your 401k is the exit liquidity. Now, look. Starlink is a genuinely great business. The rocket technology is real. The long-term vision might even work out. Maybe in 10 years this looks like genius, but right now, in June 2026, you're being asked to pay the highest possible price for a company losing billions of dollars, with rules specifically engineered to force passive investors in before price discovery happens. The smart move is simple. Wait. Watch the first 90 days. See where the stock actually settles when the artificial demand runs out. Because the IPO price is set for the insiders. The real price gets discovered later, and the people who understand that difference, those are the people who don't become exit liquidity. If this video made something click for you, hit subscribe. June 4th, the roadshow begins. June 12th, SpaceX lists. And I'll be here breaking down exactly what happens in plain English. And I want to know, are you planning to buy SpaceX stock? Let me know in the comments.